Good morning from gardening at Douentza here in Ireland, and as you can see it's a beautiful sunny morning and it's the morning of my first open day of the season. So we're going to go in and have a look around the garden and see how it looks on this fine early June morning. So come with me and let's have a look at all the plants. We're now at the other end of the drive, and just for a change I think we're going to start our garden tour over on this side of the garden where we have, where we have some nice plants to have a look at. So we just came in from that opening there and we'll just have a quick glance at some of the plants here at the front, and I guess the Sarracenia kind of jump out. And some of them are coming into flower at the moment. As you can tell from this bubbly bit here, that'll be the flower. This is a flower. And yeah. Now, the Sarracenia are not doing great at the moment. And I think what I'll do in autumn is lift them and divide them. Do you see on this half of the planter, they are kind of dying off. And I suspect there's thick moss on top, although everybody says it's good for them, but I have my doubts. In here it's looking particularly lovely at the moment with a variety of leafy plants, and I guess I had better show you here at the very front this Dactylorhiza, which is, well, it's in full flower. Dactylorhiza, of course, is a hardy orchid. The Alliums are looking really well at the moment, and I love this funny one. And perhaps in another garden visit we'll come along after these flowers have gone over, and you'll see how they change, because when these flowers dry up it looks exactly like a fairy castle, the Disney castle. I know it's hard to imagine, but come with me next time we do one of these visits and I'm sure to show you. On the other side here we have more traditional planting, and my rose hasn't yet come into flower, but one great thing I want to show you, which is decided to open for my open day, is this iris here, and it's just coming, just coming. Now if I have a name for this I will put it up on the screen, but there's a chance I don't. What I do know, it's one I bought from the French National Collection in Bruxelles several years ago when I visited, and it really is a nice one. You got to love the furry beards. And here we are taking a final look at this part of the garden before we set out over the other side to, well, to see what else is going on over there. So come on with me. And just a quick glance over at this section of the garden, which is with the zenny area. And that amazing Saxifraga is still in eminent flower, looking glorious, absolutely glorious. And the succulents are doing well here. Oops. Just a bit of last minute weeding. And then the zen area behind, or the meditation area, yeah, which I never quite finished. I'll have to do something with sinking those stepstones in just a minute. I'd better get on with things. Here on the drive you can see that the Laburnum tree has gone over and has just decided to drop all its petals on the tarmac in the last few days, which is very inconsiderate of it. Iris is still looking good. Champagne Elegance has gone over, and the blue ones are being favoured at the moment. And then here on this side, just looking really quite leafy. And that's a bit hard because the sun is being backlit. Got to show you this gorgeous little geranium here. Let's take a close look at it. Now, this is a species one, and it's proved hardy in my garden, although particularly heavy winters have knocked it back. But isn't it gorgeous? And I just love its habit, the way the buds droop like that before they open, just like a poppy. And in we go. And if we walk down this way, we can, oh, I don't know if there's much to see here. The Campanula. See how big it is now? Really, really big. Not in flower for open day, which would be great. It's more kind of like a June thing, and we're only at the beginning of June. But yeah, it'll be here for my next open day. And then we have that big wheel border down the end here. Rhododendrons just going over, but so it goes, you know. That's why you need a variety of different things in your garden, because things only flower for a certain length of time, and then you need other ones coming in there to take up the baton and continue the flowery parade. There's a buzz of bee very definitely in the air, and it's kind of nice. It adds to the atmosphere here, let's just say. So we're just swinging around here, and I guess I will end up by showing you the pipes down there, which are a lovely feature. And these are planted up with Sempervirums and a Sedum, and I think they look really, really well. And just a word about this other section of the garden here, where you can see the rhododendron in the far background has gone over now, and there's a grass I dug up from the garden. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, whether I put it in a pot and put it somewhere else or not, I don't know, but it certainly has to come off the lawn there. We'll go and pick it up in a minute. I guess I should show you the far corner that I've been planting. And I can see Alstroemeria Summer Skies is coming into flower now, which is that dark flowered Alstroemeria just there. Let's just get this fella off the ground. But gorgeous, gorgeous flowers and dark foliage, and people grow it because of the dark foliage very often, because Alstroemeria foliage is a bit crap really, mostly. Unfortunately it needs staking, but I now have extra metal hoops, and that brute has taken 3 of them, but it's going to look good, so that's the main thing. And then I guess just a quick look up here. We have a lot of peonies not yet in bloom yet, like that one there. So we're over here at the rough end, and I guess what I really wanted to show you is, I mean, this isn't the best area to be looking at in the garden, it's just newly planted, everything is small. And look at the back there. When I was weeding, I decided to leave the poppies. I mean, I have so many weed seeds that are actually originally plants from the garden, like Melanosolinum, Aqualegia, poppies, just like countless ones of them. So they need to be weeded out, but here is a whole big gap that has nothing else growing in it. So I did my best to weed the real weeds from between them, and we're going to have a massive poppies there before very long. So let's have a look further on up, passing by Samuel's tree that I talked about in the last video. And various box balls, and the box hedging there. And box really isn't the best thing to plant at the moment because there's so much box blight about. Oh, tractor alert. So we'll just cross across here at the top of the garden. Pick up that. And we have geranium coming into flower on the right. There, pretty little thing. Just to swing around to look down here. I see my martagon lilies over there just coming into flower, so we'll go in and have a look at them. I really love the martagon lilies. They're kind of shade-loving lilies and just absolute beauties. Unfortunately, the lily beetle seems to love them just as much as it loves the other kind, so I have to be vigilant. And back here again, the dark border is looking quite broody. The Tetrapanax is leafing up very nicely at the moment. It had been knocked back over winter, and in this border here, which is quite leafy and quite green, we have a Rhododendron tree flanking it, and it is in flower. And here are the flowers, which are quite dainty pinwheel things. You don't notice them at first, but if you go in and have a look at the detail, it really is quite breathtaking. And this border here is looking quite nice at the moment. Now the Cynara, as you'll notice, has really elongated the last while, and that's because it's about to flower. It's got the flower spikes in there, and the minute after open day I will cut those back because I really don't want this blooming. The foliage goes to pot after the flower comes. So obviously I didn't want to cut it off for the open day because it'd look a bit butchered, but yeah, I will tomorrow, definitely will tomorrow. And this geranium summer skies is just opening. Really, really nice thing. Couple of days and it'll be in full flower. I love when plants do their own thing and just make a glorious, glorious muddle. Here we have Sempervivum, we have melanosolenum, we have aqualegias, and other things just in here in a big melee, and the bees love it too. And what else can I show you? We have a beautiful, beautiful bush that caused a fight in a garden centre one time between myself and another gardener. Yeah, we gardeners, we can apparently get a bit vicious. No, I'm only joking, it was a friendly fight. But we both wanted this because, isn't it gorgeous? Absolutely gorgeous. And mine is just coming into flower, so I felt I had to show you. Lots and lots of buds to come there, but it is going to be a glorious, glorious year for this bush. Strawberry fields. Oh yeah, the calmia over here has decided to open. Now this really is just coming. And if we move down here we can see that some of the buds are open and some are still closed. But it really is an unusual one. I don't remember it flowering this late before, but maybe I'm just mistaken, maybe I just don't remember correctly. Really, really pretty thing. And it is flanked here at the front by Geranium renardii that I made a separate video about. And it is still in flower. But as we know, we grow this one for the leaf, so we don't mind when it finishes. And before we leave this little arrangement, I just had to give you a close-up of this penstemon because I love the blue and purple nature of its bell-like flowers. It really is pretty. When the sun hits this one, it's gorgeous. It's a bit more delicate than, well, penstemons in general are a bit delicate. And if I remember, I'll link to my video at the end of this that deals with penstemon care, because they are one that you can lose in winter if you're not careful. Okay, let's head up there and see that iris and that rhododendron. And here we have a delightfully late rhododendron with beautiful orange flowers and very neat foliage. And look out for neat foliage in rhododendrons, because you know you're going to be looking at that bare foliage for the majority of the time that the plant is in your garden. They only flower in May, June. Anyway, there you go. And here we have another iris, and this one is called Superstition, and it is black. Well, about as black as an iris can be, I think. Isn't it cool? Let's go in and have a look at this one. And lots of flowers on the spike. This one tends to flop over on me, which is quite annoying, but I've put some hoops in there. That one's kind of gone over. It's a beauty, isn't it? And now we have a quick pan to the background noise of a tractor passing. The joys of living in the countryside. Let's hope it passes soon. And the next port of call for us is right up there at the top where the stone table is. We've been looking at stuff down here on this side. And now we are just going to take a little walk up there. And I suppose I should have a glance here at this side. The Pacific Coast irises. Still looking amazing, but they won't be here for very long now. I can tell they're about to go over. Super gorgeous things. And Philotacca, whichever it is, the variegated form. Just look at the leaf on that. It's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. And as you can see, I've been strategically leaving poppies to flower, because I have gaps. Everybody has gaps. Over here I have gaps that snowdrops are in from earlier, and I've left some poppies to just do something pretty during the rest of the year, because you know that's always a problem when you have bulbs, spring bulbs. What do you grow on top of them? And maybe I'll make a separate video about that, because I've been doing a bit of investigation into various geraniums for use on top of spring bulbs. So we've just travelled from down there and just panning around where we can see placed in the border the tree ferns I bought last year. Perhaps I'll link to that video at the end. I think it was called Exciting New Plants. Up the top here, the Sarracenia. And then, I don't know, I'm gonna get a load of trugs now as I pan around, so bear with me. Oh yay, load of trugs and a wheelbarrow. And the house with plastic behind it. Wonderful, the joys of real living. The Dictamnus over here, the pink one, is looking particularly good still. Look at those gorgeous flowers. This has got to be one of my favourites. Okay, let's just take a little jaunt down here before we go over and see my really exciting news on the other side of the garden. Well, not the other side of the garden, just beyond the greenhouse. And this is a spring path we're travelling through. I mean, it's of spring interest. There's Empress Wu, my giant hosta, looking absolutely giant. Excuse me, I've got grasses and things in my hand. I'll give you an idea of her size. And plenty of hostas here. Oh, the farmers are busy today. Melanosolenum, And this is where I stood for that melanosolenum video. And those who've been watching these videos, there's the tree I pruned not very long ago. There's the bell. And let's just take a little step back here. I have irises flowering in shade. Can you believe it? It really is quite an excellent year for the bearded irises. And there, that's that path there that we just went through. It's kind of inviting, and it leads out from the patio doors in the sitting room, makes you want to explore the garden a little further. And here we are just at the greenhouse, and this here is the greenhouse border with a cute little marigold there at the front. This is my favourite one. It's called Candyman Orange, and I think it's just a stunner. I need to do a slight bit of deadheading there. Gorgeous thing. And here we have this little beauty just coming into flower, and we have lots of buds coming, lots and lots of buds. Let me just show you what the flowers look like. Aren't they cute? Now this is a borderline hardy thing, but I've gotten away with it in the garden for several years, so I will continue to hope to get away with it in the garden for several more years. And here's the greenhouse, but we're not going to go in there for this visit. This is primarily a garden visit, and we're just panning over the way we just came there. And down here, yes, I have to show you this. I have a Trachycarpus fortunei in flower, and this is a palm tree, and it's a hardy one though. And look at the flowers. Well, it's the flowers, the fruit. Isn't it amazing? Really quite distinctive. Cordyline australis, which is grown a lot here in Ireland. Flowers with a kind of brownish plume thing, but the yellow one here is so much more interesting, I think. And when I was weeding around here, I noticed that this palm had actually flowered last year. I just missed it because I cut off the dead heads. Isn't that really cool? Do I get a scent from it? Let me stick my nose in. There's certainly pollen. It's covered in pollen. No, I don't really get a scent, but there's a lot going on in the air, so I could be mistaken. So away from the Trachycarpus, and here we have my wedding cake tree, which is flanked by a copper beech hedge. Now, we had a storm earlier this year and this tree came down, but we propped it up again with a trusty stake, and there, it sticks at the front actually. And anybody who lives in any kind of windy garden will know that, yeah, they go up, they come down, they go up, they come down. That's trees. I was talking to a friend there recently. He was completely shocked at the idea that a tree had come down, and he said, "Oh, it's dead." No, it's not dead, not dead at all. Okay, I got a beautiful surprise when I was weeding here by the hardy orchid bed, and you know, I completely forgot to show you the Sempervivum when they were in flower. The last video was the time to do it. I just finished recording and I remembered that these guys were in flower, but anyway, I forgot. Sorry about that. But I was weeding and I came across this beauty, and the reason why I hadn't seen it before was that the fatsia had made so many leaves, and my god, do fatsias make lots of leaves, that it covered up down below, and I couldn't see this plant. I think it's a Podophyllum. Anyway, I'll put the name on the screen. Species plant, gorgeous plant, and it seems to like deep shade because it has grown these amazing massive leaves. And well, okay, just I suppose the trick here is that if you're growing fatsias, to constantly remove at least 50% of their leaves, because I had a good go at this one. It's two there we're looking at yesterday when I was removing leaves, and it still looks like a mess, a jumble of leaves. they can really do with losing a whole lot of them. And it looks so much nicer if you can see the leaves individually, not just a dense mass. But if I have time sometime, I'll have a go at that. But I was absolutely amazed to discover this plant underneath here with the ginormous leaves. And I am gingerly stepping in beside my hardy orchid bed to give you a closer look. Now, look at these. These are enormous. Aren't they amazing? Absolutely amazing. And I think, yeah, look, they're flowering. That is definitely a podophyllum. Podophyllums all flower like this. We saw the other one down the other end, and they have these drooping flowers. Maybe I'll try and collect seed, because I could definitely do with more of this in the garden. Definitely. Okay, and I guess the last thing I really want to show you is over here. And can you see it yet? As we get closer and closer and closer, it's the cardiocrinum. And look at that tall spike with these big leaves, and then at the top we have the flowers. It's also flanked by a fatsia, and we'll just go in a bit closer and see if we can get a close-up of those amazing flowers. Now, I think in the first garden visit we cut back this plant, or it had just been cut back, and look how much it grows. Pachyphragma. Okay, so here's the cardiocrinum, and here are the flowers, which are just opening. You can see a lot of them. The buds are closed, and this will continue to elongate as memory serves. Smells lovely. Oh my god, it smells amazing. So this is a very rare plant that I grew from seed. It took 2 years for the seed to germinate, and a further 7 years for the plant to actually flower. And that brings us up to date, 9 years in total. They're really not for the impatient gardener. And I can imagine that a lot of the tree lilies that you see for sale have this in its parentage, because it really is a big sturdy thing. Now I'm reaching up here, it's taller than me, and it has a trunk-like stem. Really, really amazing thing. Anyway, I'm really delighted and so proud of this fantastic plant. So proud that I grew it from seed as well, and there is enormous satisfaction from growing something from seed yourself and then eventually getting it to flower and getting it to come into glorious flower. Super. So just a quick glance up here, and this is the scruffy end of the garden, which has been cordoned off by that fence. For those of you who asked about compost, of course I have compost. That's the compost area up there, and I think I have 4 compost bays, and I'm certainly not bringing you up to the scruffy end. There's the greenhouse. We'll go in there another day, and then just swinging around back at the house. Etc, etc. Okay, that kind of brings me to the end of this video. A full garden video update tour, and I hope you liked it, and I hope if you're in Ireland you'll consider coming to visit for one of my open days and see it for yourself. And if not, I hope you enjoyed this, well, relaxing walk and the gardening chat that came with it. Thanks for watching as always. Bye.